Hi everyone and welcome back. So in the previous video we have created this customer module, and now customer module, because database module is already available in the app module, now we can start creating the schemas and we'll start injecting them into our uh, customer modules or task modules or whatever the module wanted to access to individual schema. Okay, so in this customer module, how first of all, how can we tell this module that I wanted to access a particular MongoDB schema? So in the database module, we have already defined that, okay, just connect to this particular database. After that, we can actually create a number of schema models and we can inject them or we can specify them in any of the module. So here we will do that. We will actually specify the customer schema in this module so that this customer module can access that customer collection without any issues. So what we are doing is we have to inject it. So we are using the Mongoose module, and this is the customer schema which we are getting from the schemas. Now after writing this line in our customer module, what it is saying is now in the customer services you can actually access the customer model, and you can do find by id, update, delete, find by id and remove. All the methods you can actually access. So the name of the schema model is customer. On the name of customer you will be able to access them. So if you are creating another product, right, then you will be writing product.module.ts. There also you can just specify your product schema and you can bootstrap that particular module with that schema model. Like here I'm doing with the customer schema. Now in the controllers and services for the customer, I will be able to access this data. Okay, I will be creating one customer controller, we can say, and customer service. Okay, services are injectable and this is our controller. So basic controller code we can just copy the same because it's going to be kind of same. Here the only difference is we are going to inject our customer service, and customer service code we can actually get from the task module. We can copy the task service for now and then we will just modify this code based on our understanding. Yes, so this is our customer service. We'll just make these methods removed. Okay, now what we are going to do is in this customer service we are going to access that schema model, because this is service layer. Controllers is a router. Controller will call our services. In services we have to write the code to actually access the schema model, right? For that we have to inject the particular schema model in service. So step one is first of all define that schema model in the Mongoose module.4 feature. After that, if you wanted to access this customer schema in your services, you have to use inject model. So that I'm writing so you will be able to understand it. Here in the constructor, I have to inject it. So there is an inject model I have to import, and this is model. I think this will come from our Mongoose. So we got model and we got the, so we are also going to create a just an interface for customer, and that interface will have just a basic attributes what we are having in our schema. So here we can create an interface folder. An interface will have a customer.interface.ts. Customer.interface.ts will have this definition. Here we are extending the document, and same customer interface we will just export here. This is the benefit of TypeScript, that if you are exporting that explicitly, you can import that anywhere. Now we can just list customer. All these methods we can write, and it is going to actually give us the list of customer, array of customer, right? And here you will be writing some code. Okay, so this is our some initials, our service. This is how our service look like, and here we will write our code to actually get the customers, like const customers equal to, this is how we will access the customer model now, right? This is the property which we are adding, this dot customer model dot, sorry, oops, this dot customer model dot, all these methods we are going to access here, like find. This is one of the method of Mongoose which it is providing. Okay, find, and you just pass this, and you can put await because it is returning promise. So we are actually getting all the data from it, and you can return the customers. And I mean, we can write that same in the single line instead of doing it in the two different lines. We can just return it. Right, so what this customer model is doing, customer model is representing this customer schema, and there is a find method on every schema model. Okay, that I can show you. So here customer model dot find, this is the method which we are invoking. Similarly, we can have other methods like get customer, customer by ID, right? We can just write them and we'll just try to see how it works. Get customer, and here you are passing the ID as a string. Okay, customer find by ID. So there is already a method in MongoDB which is find by ID, and you just need to pass the ID as a object ID. I mean, it should be object ID, not a plain string. It should be a kind of UUID structure. Okay, and we are returning this. So these two methods we have written. Now we can write our controller. This controller will be just calling these two methods, and here the definition will be customer. Okay, here this is a get method. So get method is like customers, let's make it plural, customers, and here it is get by ID. So we can just say customer ID. Sorry for this trouble, customer ID. I have some keyboard issue. Yeah, so customer ID and get and post. So this is the get by ID, and this is getting all the customers. We can just set simply get all customers. And then get customer by ID. Let's quickly finish this. And here we will be actually accessing the request parameter, response parameter. So that same thing we talked about, response. And here we have response. So I mean, we are getting some data from the service. So here we are injecting the service first, which is simply you can say service, and this is of type customer service. Are we correctly exporting it? So let's go to customer service. So now in the controller I can actually pass the same service, and I can import this, and I can say this dot service dot some method. This is get customer by ID. Okay, let's see the methods. Get customer, yeah, get customer is fine. We are writing that in the controller. Get customer, we just need to pass the ID here, and here we are calling get customers. Sorry, list customer is this method, so we'll just replace it to the list customer, right? And what it is returning is, we don't want it to return it directly. We will get data. We'll await once we receive the response, and then we can say response dot status equal to HTTP status. I mean, there are different ways of writing it. HTTP status. You can say okay, and just pass the JSON object. whatever we got in the data. This is just another way, and this is async function, async controller function. Same for this, and we are actually going to call the controller methods. Just doing a cleanup little bit. Yeah, so here we need annotation response because we are accessing that, and we also need params, and we are getting ID, and this ID of type string. Same ID we can pass to get customer by ID. Simple. So this is how we have written our controllers. And controllers, we injected service is getting the data and returning the data back to us, and we are using express way of doing it. So here response.status.json. If you want to get this response of type response, then you can just do it from the express, because the type of this, then you have to explicitly import response from. Okay, this is also fine. This response is of type response.status.json. This is how we are doing it. So in the next example, we will actually run it and we will see how it is working.